And I'm live with a full moon reading. Check it out. By the bonfire, it's kind of going out. It's a little dangerous. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Where am I? We're living the good life again. Welcome to the good life. Better than the life you live. Forgive me. I'm coming out a little soft here. Let's start off a little soft. To anybody new, I see you. I seen you. I see you. What's up? What's up? I am the High Priestess Phoenix. I am your spiritual healer. What does that mean? I'm here to help heal you in a spiritual way. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm here to teach you about spirituality. I am a seer. I see things that can't be seen by the normal eye, meaning I can see into other worlds. I'm a shaman. I can teach you how to work through dreams and visions and shit like that. Those are shaman teachings, right? I am a light worker. What does that mean? Well, when you realize that, when you know your soul, you know that God is nothing more than the light, and you are part of the light. So you go back to being part of the light and everything that is part of the light. And when you get to that certain set of awakening, you realize that you're here on a mission. What mission? You're a starseed. You are not just a regular human. You are a soul here with a purpose to help humans evolve during their experience. Right? Layman's term would call me a psychic, someone that can see the future, a fortune teller, something like that. An oracle, an all-seeing and all-knowing. How do I see and know? I'm just directed to what to see and know, and if I choose to see and know things, mostly it's just put out there. I really don't know nothing, and I only see what's given to me, but all of it seems to be unbelievable. Being a female, or anybody that practices any type of spirituality outside of the covering of a religion, outside of a church-based religion, makes you a witch, whether you're male or female. If you do any practicing outside of traditional religious quarters, then you're a witch. And that means you're also attached to Wiccans and all of those, that ever worked with herbal healings and earth remedies. You're a witch. You're a witch. Me, I'm a messenger of God. I am the messenger. I don't know about how many others, and that's something that one of my revelations that happened while I was gone. But I am a messenger of God. I am one of his prophets. I was proclaimed in the Bible. It was said that I would be here. I'm here. I'm here to witness. I'm here to testify. I'm here to have a life experience that must fulfill all of the things that were karmic and lacking in my previous lives, where you can learn those teachings under Krishna and under Melchizedek. Is you really come together with all of your past life experiences, and they all equal to one final life experience where you finish all of the tasks and assignments that you wanted and needed to do before you left the human experience for good. So, that's me. I am Lilith reincarnated. But as I said, I have all of my past lives integrated into this life. So, you can get Hecate, Sarah Dwyn, Bridge, Isis, Medusa. You could catch Kalik at any time, day or night. I'm Kali. I've been in all spaces and times throughout existence, and now I'm here in the end times to finish the end game. I'm playing out a lot of my karmic roles. I have to pay a lot of debt and make a lot of, testimony to the world of how it is done. Play my own game. But nevertheless, I'm here to bear witness, and I'm trying to awaken people to walk back to the light as I am finding my way through the shadows of death. Hey, how are you? Just a recap for anyone that, guess who's back? I'm back. I'm back. I'm not really back in black, but I'm back. Where have I been? Oh, shit. The last time I saw you, God said we was taking a separation. It really happened. How did it happen? What had happened was, I got a strike on my YouTube channel for harassment. I may have said to somebody if they were going to swallow someone's pus. I can't help but recognize the synchronicities of the same day where I put out, all of my most beautiful pictures and, was having the best time of my life, that God said, okay, that's enough. We're going to cut you off. Or somebody had to complain. Who cares? God heard it and he went with it and he was like, okay, let's take a time out. And again, as I said, the last time I was here, which would be, it was 2 Thursdays ago, I was like, we pulled the separation card. And so, yeah, we got separated. I got a strike, which meant I was supposed to take a 7-day period off. But see, I don't know nothing about nothing. So I'm like waiting for these days to burn down, but it only starts when you actually take action. So by the 7th day, I'm like, what's going on? And like, I didn't take action. So then I finally took action, and then the timer started. So I'm actually recording this under Thursday's full moon, because we always got to come with the full moon. Where am I? I'm actually at Lake Mead in the Hoover Dam. Over those mountains is Las Vegas. Yeah, there's a lot of catching up to do. I'll catch you up. That's what we're going to do in this video. That way when I come live, we just come live. I'll upload this and we'll come live from wherever, what life God has given me by then. So that's what happened. I got cut off. And it was an interesting cutoff. It was, necessary to cut off from everybody and just leave everything for a minute and step back into my skin. But, oh man, it was difficult to step into my skin. For some reason, I'm having difficulties putting it into words, what I seen and witnessed and experienced. But when it was all said and done, and this is going back, where was I? I was staying in transitional housing, right? And I just kept leaving every day, and I was waiting to get the kids into school, and the people were getting on my nerves, and I would just kind of, go to parks and all of these places and just kind of waiting for my next assignment. But when I got cut off of YouTube, I didn't really have a purpose but to sit in my skin and start to pay attention to my surroundings. And that became very difficult for me. What happened? Because I'm trained not to be in the energy of anyone else, not to put myself in anybody's energy, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know about these people. I don't want to know about anybody. I really don't. You know what I mean? I have full trust that I'm protected and I don't have to, I'm not ignorant, but I don't go looking for fucking, you know what I mean? Friends or anything. I just accept the fact that we're in the same place at the same time, and I didn't start paying attention to the people that were around me. And so the day that I get cut off of YouTube, more people start to come into this facility, and then I'm starting to be, aware of these people. And they're all different creeds and types and stories and different things. But they all are carrying a very low vibrational situation that, again, I'm being meant to relive at my personal level, but I'm not there. I'm just meant to relive this and understand it. What does that mean? It means that I've done it in the flesh, but now I'm here to experience it in the spirit. And by doing so, I have a different perspective, which causes me to have more love and compassion and understanding for things that I've already overcome, witnessed, and experienced in my life, but are locked away in my memory bank, tied into traumas. You know what I mean? I would lose long periods because, even though there was people, places, and things, the time or, whatever was happening, it's just all locked away. So as I start to explore these people, my memories start reawakening. You remind me of this person. And that's what we talk about, is triggers. I've been teaching you how God will bring in someone or, an outside situation to make you reflect on things inside of you, who you are, right? And I started to go through all kinds of absolute face front mirrors of my life experiences. I was revisiting life experiences through the people that he had put in this facility around me. And it became too much. Ultimately, I turned into a whistleblower. Really, I went into a total whistleblower mode. And then when I couldn't stop what was happening, I did magic, and then I got kicked out. If we really want to talk about it, what happened? I can't really put it into words. It happened so fast. It was Friday then, or something. Yeah, that's when it happened, dude. It was Friday. I got cut off of fucking YouTube on a Friday. And then so I had a whole week, and we took that week, and I don't know, man. It was one after another. And then, I can speak about it now, but when you live there, you're supposed to respect everybody's privacy and not talk about the people that live there, because that's terms of termination, and I was just following rules. So the whole facility is, it's one of these fucking, it's a DV facility. And so everybody comes in because they need a place to rehabilitate. And so I walk into this place, and I've done this before. I've been a success story. Now, mind you, it was after my third fucking DV shelter that I finally caught on to, the tools and what it took to do it. And that's my story in Colorado, is I got out of that shelter and I got me a good job and I started my life. Finally, I used the tools. And I ended up being, I remember leaving work that night, or going to work that night after it. I ended up being their success story, and they had me as a guest speaker at the gala that year, and so that they could get their funding and contribution, and it was a big deal. So I've been a success out of one of these places. And I walk into this place and I sit down with the advocate, which is in my videos, and the first thing she says is, "No, you can't get a job here if you don't know nobody." And so most people just leave. And I was grateful that I didn't waste my time. But then when I needed to leave, I talked to the temp agency, and the temp agency was really saying that that's full of shit. Now, what I didn't realize is I started to explore, and the city was big, and she was full of shit. There was plenty of jobs to be had, right? But they had this rule in play that you couldn't leave your children unattended there unless you signed a babysitting agreement with one of the other parents. So I got to be honest, I was always looking for another parent that I could have just look in on my kids, and I could go to work to get some money and get the fuck out of here, right? Or at least something. I don't know. I had to do something. I couldn't sit there with these people, and it was too hot to run outside. I was just trapped in my own little hell. And so as I'm starting to look at these people as possibilities, I really start to see these people, and I start to see who they are and what's brought them here and what they're really about and how they treat their children and how gross they are and all of these things. So, these are real hard stories, and this video, I don't know. This is I need to get it all out before I can get back to spiritually teaching, because I haven't pulled a card really since 2 weeks ago, because of life experiences of what I've just really gone through. I really went through the ringer, time warped. Seriously, time warped. So the first family that I had a lot of uncomfortability about was, there's this big pregnant woman, and they're older, dude. They're maybe 18, 19, 17. She's got two very older kids. And she's got two younger kids that are about 7 and 10. Okay, so one of the oldest ones is a very big, we're talking 200-pound, 6-foot set, special needs woman. You can say it's a child, but no, I don't believe so, age-wise. And the size of this woman is bigger than me. And I've never seen special needs at this particular level, where I got to be honest and ignorant from my state of being. We used to call them, the mentally retarded, because they were usually in chairs. They were the type that would drool and grab you. And now they're on a spectrum, and there's different names for them. And forgive my ignorance to the families and those that have children with special needs. but this was an extreme special need where she was screaming loudly and banging tables, and she would throw her body back, and she would a lot of scary movement and just get up and start screaming and crying through the the dining area, the great hall. She would start opening up what we have as food boxes. We have individual food boxes, and she'd just start eating. It's, as I'm trying to say it, my spirit wants to laugh about it, but it was very hard for me. My spirit wants to laugh about it now, looking back at it. She would just, run in and start eating people's food. She'd start banging stuff. She was like uncontrollable. And then one of the, so her oldest was like that, and her youngest was very well, he would scream and he would cry and he would throw fits and he would run around the room, and all of this was going on. And that was hard for me to start with. I'm like, oh gosh. Okay. And so there was always, every mealtime was very tense because I was afraid. And later this girl put it into words. She put it into words, which I've never heard, and I do feel like they're a little bit hurtful, but she put it into words. She said, special needs have special strengths. And I was like, honestly, if she grabbed me, the size of her, she's as big as her mother, and they're both bigger than me. Do you know what I mean? And so I didn't notice this in the beginning. This is the very, the beginning. I'm very uncomfortable, and it starts to become bigger and bigger. Like she screams through the whole meal times and all of this stuff, right? So then there's a situation where she's actually taken the food from our box again, and my daughter's upset. And I tell her mother, I was like, did she take the stuff? And she's like, yeah. I was trying to figure out whose it was. And I tell the mother, I was like, you really just have to watch her. This is what she does, and all you have to do is watch her so she doesn't do that. She's like, no, I've already talked to staff about it because I didn't know whose the stuff was. I was like, I know, but it can be avoided if you just watch her. And she's all, no, I could just buy everyone locks and we could just be over it. I was like, you could just give her the attention that she needs so she's not doing this. And that turned into a whole fight, right? And she got in my face, and I had to write the only way to, to save my ass was to write this grievance. They have these things, you're supposed to, write it down, take a picture. I don't give a fuck. So I write it down. Next thing you know, they move them out of the kitchen, right? They move them out of the kitchen, and now they're feeding them in the room because of everything, everything that's going on in the Great Hall. So now I feel like horrible shit, you guys. First off, it's better because now we can sit down without worrying, because they sat right behind us, and it was just a very terrifying, uncomfortable feel. Now I have, peace, but I don't, because I feel horrible about this. She's coming in and they're wheeling out their food, and they're all eating in that room, and they never come out of that room, and now, you know what I mean, this has happened. So, there's that happens, okay? Then this girl comes in, and she's hardcore, dude. She's got like tattoos all over her face. She's got like feathers. She comes in with like 4 girls, right? So sometimes she has 4, sometimes she has 2. She's got like, they just keep going. And then like after a couple days, like I can't even make it up. I'm driving over to the park, and I'm like, guys, did you see the new girl? She's all gangster. She's got all tattoos on her face. And my daughter's like, Mom, she's right outside your car. And I swear, as soon as I was pulling up at the park, she was walking by. She didn't hear me, but it was like, after that, it was all tense. So I had to, I don't know if she heard me, so I had to explain myself. They end up moving this girl from her room over to my room, or to the room next to mine, and now we have a shared bathroom. So now I'm getting to know this girl, and she screams really loud, and she reminds me of my mom, and I'm triggered terribly. She's screaming at her girls. She's a screamer. She's screaming, and then she's not cleanly. She's like destroys the bathroom. Like the first time she used the bathroom, her hair was everywhere. There was diapers in the trash can. She left a fucking washcloth in the shower. I was like, dude, I went to put it there. I was like, don't touch it. And they're like, it's okay. I was like, no, she had that, she was washing her body with that. That's disgusting. You know what I mean? I was really filthed out. By it. And then again, she was screaming at her kids real hard. She was a screamer. It reminded me of like old schools know. Remember the terrifying neighbor I had that would, oh God, it was just like her. It was so bad to listen to. So then I got triggered by my new neighbor. Now, why did they move her? They move in this girl that just came in with twins. Twins. A boy and a girl. And they're tiny. They're only like about to be 3 months. And she's holding them, and you could tell she's a new mom, and you're like, oh my God. So everybody just wants to help her, but she looks like she's helpless. You know what I mean? So we're just helping her, and her babies are beautiful, and it's great and all. But then it's like, you know, as I'm helping, it becomes like, you know, kind of leechy, and she starts kind of taking advantage. So like, I was like, if you need help, you know, I can help. So then like the next day I see her in the hallway, and it's like she's only been there a day, and she's like just crying outside of her room, and the babies are crying. And I knock on the door, or I'm like, I can help you. And me and my daughter walk in. My daughter loves babies. And we each grab one, and we take them into the kitchen, and we calm them down, and we do all this stuff. And, you know, and then I'm not exactly sure, but at some point I ended up taking them for the night because she just couldn't sleep. So I brought the babies into my room. I don't know this girl, and I learned the babies' names, but I end up bringing the babies in, and I took a picture. It's really cute. And we got to like be around brand new babies for the night, and she got to sleep and whatnot. But then it felt like she wanted us to be her babysitters, because later we went to the park, and she's like, oh, I'll go with you. And she comes to the park, and I start to talk to her, and then she starts telling me all this shit. And that was on a Friday, bro. She starts telling me that she knows the woman, the pregnant woman, and their, you know, the special needs and all this. She knows them because her brother was special needs, and she used to see him in the circles. And she's like, you know, what happens if she has another one and it's special needs? And I was like, oh my God, I told my daughter that, like, you know, she can't meet the needs of them already. What if she has another one that's special needs? She's not meeting their needs. This is a definition of they have special needs. They need more. Lots more than others. And their needs are not already being met, and she's pregnant and shit. So she starts to talk about all of that, and I told her, I was like, you know what? I really started to question, and I did. I had a talk with Holy Spirit about it, because I watched her right before we had this conversation. I didn't talk to anyone. She had ran into the kitchen as I was signing out, and her mom wasn't there, and it was another one of those times where she's just running down the halls and, you know, just doing kind of crazy stuff. And I finally looked up at her, and I'm watching her eyeballs, and they're going in like a lot of movement, but in totally different directions. Not like Forrest Whitaker, where like, you know, it's not like where one's just sitting. They're going in completely different directions. And I asked God, and I'm trying to understand this, because I know special needs, a lot of special needs are literally just earth angels in there. You know what I mean? Here to teach love and light. But as I'm looking at this particular soul through this body, I realized something that I've never felt or seen before. I realized that this is a person's karma, and this is that mother's karma. And I don't know this until she tells me the story. I have no idea about this. I sit down, I see this girl. She's, you know, again, huge. Her eyes are going different ways. She's screaming, she's throwing a fit, she's opening and closing the microwave. Her mom's nowhere to be found. I'm not going to say shit to her. Staff doesn't know nothing, and I just kind of look at her, and then I leave, and we go to the park. And when she's telling me about their family, and I tell her what I witnessed, and she's like, you know what, you know, their father left them because of them being special needs. I was like, oh, fuck. Is that what happens to them? She's like, and my daughter butts in. She's like, Mom, that happens all the time. And I just never considered it that men would walk out because it's too hard. And it's simplistic that, of course, men or women would walk out on special needs children because it is too hard. It is too hard. And so she tells me that, right? And I was like, that's a horrible thing to do. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that's the soul that's in that special needs body, is someone that walked away from their children, and now they must be trapped in a body they cannot control, and just witness life being fed and being, you know what I mean, guided, and cannot be, you know what I mean, in the next life, from what I've seen of this is this particular soul. Truthfully, I'm like, and then this wasn't, God's given them a good life, and the mother as well, and that's what it is too. Is the mother may have came. It's karma. Ultimately, their lives are perfectly designed, for them to live out their karma in this life, and this is a soul trapped in a body that doesn't have control over the body or the mind or the emotions, but there is a soul in it. That's what makes all of that system work. So I've seen it as more like, I gotta be honest, I've seen it as Dante's, in the Inferno. It's like when they say that you're gonna live hell on earth, that's hell. When you couldn't actually have a human experience where you'd have to be trapped in a body like that. That is your destiny in this life. And not all special needs are that. But this particular one, that's the answer I got. And so she tells me this story, right? So then there was another family that came in before her. It was a man, and he has a special needs son. And this one's about 14. Again, 6 foot tall, 200 easily pounds. Sweetheart. He started playing on the playground right away. He climbed to the top of the playground. He's like, I'm the warrior. This is my new home. I love this place. I love this place. They have a great playground. And he comes into the great room and the kitchen, and they're feeding him. And I say hi, and he's like, can I give you a hug? You know me. Nobody gives me a hug. Nobody comes near me. I gave that boy the biggest hug. And I meet the dad, and he's a total geeker, bro. Total geeker. And then he has a girl, and she's about, she's younger than the boy, so she's like 13, 14. And this is where I didn't understand, and this is the conversation. I've been watching the girl the whole time, but I didn't understand. So I'm sitting there again, we're still at the park. She just told me about this family, and she blew me away with all this unbelievable darkness and reality. Now she moves on to the next one. I was like, what do you think about the girl? I was all, is she LGBTQ or what is that? And she said, no. She said that has to do with her father and the weird relationship they have. And then my daughter's like, haven't you seen it, Mom? And I said, what? And they said, haven't you seen it? They're playing family. They're playing mommy and daddy. And I didn't take that well. I did at face value because, as I'm looking back at how I took the information and what it did inside of my skin and how I got here, I took it, but it just ate me up. And that's it. As I'm seeing it, it's like they're showing me the Russ situation. Santiago, I took it like a fucking lady, but I didn't understand what that was really going to do to me, to take that kind of energy, that kind of darkness in. And I was like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah. And I started to pay attention. And he was very... There was role-playing happened between him and his daughter, and how he spoke with her, and how he wanted her to be girly, but she wanted to be dressed up as tomboy, but like they were very... It was very obvious and inappropriate, and it made me so sick. And it hurt, and I didn't do anything. It just boiled in my skin, but what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? I'm in my skin, and I'm living here, and she's telling me this on a Friday night, so she's already told me all this, right? So now we get back, and my roommate's out with her children, and all the children want to play basketball, and they all want to hang out. So now all the adults are hanging out. And now it's like we're like in this forced community, which we've never been. And it's Friday night. And the one girl that's, my neighbor, the native girl. Oh, and that's another thing too. She tells me about the native girl. Okay, here's how this works. So this girl comes up to me in my room. I'm not feeling good. I start to get sick. That's a whole nother story. She comes up to my room. She's like, hey, what are you doing today? And I was actually going to go they were having a native festival that day. I had planned to go there, but I got sick that day. She's like, can you watch my kids for like an hour. And I'm like, all right, I guess. I mean, I don't even know you're right in the next room from me, I guess. So she signs me a babysitting agreement, and I take her kids for an hour. She comes back and she gives me she tries to give me $40, and I'm like, oh no, I can't take that, dude. She's like, no, here, take this, and she gives me $30. I'm like, damn, I needed that. I fucking did, I didn't have no cash. So I take it, but later on that night, she goes and hits up the girl with the twins and asks her to babysit, and she left her kids later that night. So here's how it works. We get back from the park, and she's out there, and we're talking about the festival, and I was like, I wanted to go. And they're like, yeah, they dance all night, they do the bird dance. I haven't done all of that stuff. Usually I don't do it, I don't be part of it, and all of this. And then the next thing you know, she asked homegirl to sign a babysitting agreement so she could go wherever, and she goes to go do the shit. And that's when the next day she was all crying. I remember the time period. Okay, so it's all kind of blurry. So then she has her babysit and all of this stuff, and now she's telling me about the native girl. She's like, and that's what she called them. She calls them the res girls. She's like, that's how the res girls are. She's like, you know what I mean, this, that, and the other. She's like, each one of her kids have a different dad and this and that, and she's telling all her business. So we pull up at the gate. We're all there. It's after, now we're locked in. There's like this, a certain, got to be there during certain times bullshit. The kids are playing, and I'm just sitting here with all this information about these people. And I'm supposed to take it like a duck, like water off my tail feather, but it's not. It seeps into the fucking fabric of my skin, because it's a memory, it's all activating my own traumas and interactions with human beings and things I've witnessed but had long forgotten. These are not people that I'm new to. I just have not seen this stuff or been around this stuff or been triggered by this stuff. And now I have its system overload. And I go to bed on Friday. Saturday I wake up and I'm like, we're out of here. I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to be around anything. So we're going and we're hanging out by the wetlands. And it just got dark all of a sudden. There's clouds over in front of the moon. We're hanging out in front of the wetlands, and we're just watching the ducks, and we're watching all this. And I'm like, I don't know, guys. I got to tell you, I feel like it's time to go. I was like, I know I don't have a plan. I know that we don't have money. We didn't have a plan or money when we got here. But I feel like it's time to go. I don't feel that we should be here any longer. Right? I was like, we got to stay away from these people. There's a lot going on here. I can feel it. I'm paying attention. We just need to let me kind of ground this. Let me figure out what the fuck we're going to do. And so fight or flight kicks in. And I do both. So I had already sat down with the director. I asked for a sit down with the regional director. And I brought her in. And I went over a lot of what was going on. This was before they placed the woman in her bedroom. I was like, look, there's some serious issues here. You have a lot of policies and procedures. You have a lot of rules and expectations. But they're not being met or followed by anyone. And, I'm an honest goer person, and I take them very serious. So I feel that, it's very one-sided. And in order for any of us to be safe, and, for this to actually work is, to follow these rules and procedures, but it's not being met, not by staff or not by anybody. One of the biggest things was cleanliness, and I'm not going to get into that right now. But I was talking about, the children with special needs and all of this stuff going on. So I'd had a meeting with her before the weekend. I talked with her on Thursday, right? And so then Friday comes, they dump me with all this shit. Saturday I decide I don't want to be part of any of this. We got to get the fuck out of this, right? I go and I end up at the reservation. I do a big ceremony there, a big spiritual ceremony. I'm burning sage. Like, I do one of those big ones that I do at like the monumental ones, the Garden of the Gods, Red Rocks, the big ones that I do. I do that there, right at the reservation. Come to find out, it wasn't just for the Kuchan. There was all of the different tribes were there. So I did a huge ceremony. Then later on, I got this vision to go to Vegas. You can do that. You can do your cards in Vegas. Go to Vegas. I was like, that's pretty true, dude. They have all kinds of sideshows. Why couldn't I do this as a sideshow, right? It seemed logistical, and that was all I was given. So I tell the kids that on Sunday morning. But then by Sunday morning, I can't really tell you what's happening. It's so much happened. So much happened. By Sunday morning, it's getting, I don't know. I don't remember exactly the full timeline. But Monday morning, now staff is coming back. And I tell them, I was like, I am totally telling, this is going to be a whole tell-all. I am fucking telling everyone about what is going on here. This is absolute craziness. You guys are just crazy, is what I say, right? Next thing I know, they, you know what I mean? They all go and write up a grievance on me. Everybody complained about me on the same day as I was going to go and complain about them, right? And I sit down and I'm trying to put my words into it. And I'm like, I'm going to want to sit down with the director today, right? And I was like, there is so much going on in here that's not being, you know what I mean, addressed or monitored or paid attention to, and just fly by, that's making this place even dangerous to even stay at, right? The native girl, or the res girl as they said, dude, she asked the girl on Saturday night, I can't even make it up. That's what was crazy. She asked the girl on Saturday night to babysit again, and she didn't come back. She asked her, I remember leaving at 5 o'clock in the evening, and she signed a babysitting agreement. She's like, no, I'll be back by midnight. And I look back and I'm like, dude, you can't even take care of the two you have, and you're going to take on, it was another toddler, and you're going to watch these kids for like 5 more hours. Holy shit, that's a death wish, right? No, dude, she didn't even come back until like 4 o'clock the next morning, which again, they say if you're not back by midnight, then you're going to get kicked out. And I'm like, how do you get away with all of this? And so she's all partying all night, and all of this stuff is going on. So I'm about to snitch everybody out. And I tell them I'm about to snitch them out. So before I even get a chance to snitch them out, they all write these grievances and they go tell them this. So now I've got everyone on me, and I know what's happening, that they're all turning against me. So I did a Hecate ritual right there in the fucking great room. I was like, you guys want to turn on me because you're dirty and I'm about to tell on you? Fine, I'm unleashing God in here. I'm not fighting you people. I'm not putting up a fight. I'm leaving. And before I leave, I'm going to let the fucking Holy Spirit eat you up. And I did it. And then later on in the afternoon, they were like, well, we're going to have to involuntarily, or we're going to have to ask you to leave. We're going to do an involuntary discharge. So I'd already planned to leave the very next day, but they involuntarily discharged me that day. So we packed up and we headed out. And what happened next was even wilder. It never ends, right? How far are we into this story? So I'm sure I can fill in a lot of other blanks. There was so many blank spaces of just trauma and re-experiencing things and overcoming explosions of memories and real life experiences with real life people where I didn't turn into an old me and go psychotic. I tried some of my old methods, which was I tried to handle it professionally, and I went to the top and tried to explain that, you know, the facility isn't being ran properly, and people like me that have known to be successful in facilities like this know that this is an unsuccessful facility, and these things are not being met to make it successful even to people like me. You know what I mean? And that was it. I tried to address that, and that didn't work. And then, you know, when it came down to what the reality of the people that we were living around, I wanted to like tell them, I was like, what am I supposed to do? Call like CPS on all these people? The girl that's beating her children, the guy that's sleeping, you know what I mean, grooming his daughter, the one that's ditching her kids, the one that says that, you know, he hit her babies. I mean, holy fucking me, dude. I need it out of this place. And so when they escorted me out, I was escorted out with a happy face. I mean, I was sweating by the sweat of my brow. I packed it all up in my car. They gave me 2 gift cards, a bunch of dog food. They tried to give me some food. I didn't take the fucking food. There was no room for the food. And I got on the road. Now this is where it gets interesting. The roads from Yuma to Vegas are very different from any other city. It's the fucking dirt-ass road that, like, no gas stations, nothing for the whole ride, like nearly 4 hours, dude. And it was scary, and there's, it's every girl's worst dream, every parent's scariest nightmare. You're just on that dirt, dark road, 2-lane road, no lights, middle of nowhere, no phone service, anything could happen. What happened? Something happened. But where did it happen? God's perfection timing, bro. I couldn't tell you the name of where it happened, but I'm trying to get to Vegas. Not Vegas. I have this vision to come up here and go camping. Where am I going to go camping? They give me this name, and it's a similar name, so I'm coming up here to go camping. And I'm trying to get there, and it says I'm like 45 minutes away, and all I see up there, I'm like, oh, look, there's a light. Maybe there's a store. And it looks like it could have been a convenience store, but I don't know if this is abandoned and it just has lights or it's just off for the night. And I look over to the left, and there's a sign that says post office and airport, and that's it. It's just this random, turn off in the middle of fucking nowhere on the desert, and that says 2 signs and some lights. And I look up, and then all of a sudden, my tire pops, bro. Right there. Right as I cross the road. It's a crossroad in the middle of nowhere, and there's lights on each side of the road. It's a crossroad. Hecate, crossroad. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and my tire pops. In the middle of fucking nowhere, bro. But at a crossroad. So I see light. It could have happened anywhere else on the side of the fucking desert, because there was nothing else before this, and there would have been something after, I discovered later. But so I wobble my car over to not where the light was, but across the street where it said post office. I know that's a government building. If it's a post office, it's going to be open tomorrow because it's a day. I left on a Monday. Seriously, on a moon day, and now I'm here with Tuesday with the strength. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? Do I just sit it out? What do? Do I fall asleep in the car? Do I try? And I know I have a donut. I'm like, you could fix this. Thug out. You can fix this. So I have to pull out everything out of the trunk, you guys. It's another hour show, pulling everything out. I have to Tetris my whole life in there. So I pull it all out. Everything I've just put in there 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours earlier. I'm pulling it out. Everything, though, this time to get this thing out. Cool, I got it out. I've seen this done a million times. All I got to do is check a video, make sure that I put the jack in the right place. I'm on the ground with the jack, and all of a sudden, some headlights turn on in front of me. My kids are running around in the dirt with my dog. It's now 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the dirt. My whole life is out, spread out all over this dirt parking lot. And there's headlights that just turn on out of nowhere, and they're coming at me in the middle of fucking desert. Oh my God. What happened? To be continued. I'll tell you what happened. You're never going to believe it. You won't believe it. But I have to. It's a Ripley's Believe It or Not. And I had to start somewhere. So much has happened that I can't just come back to teaching. Why did I stop teaching? Because I had to learn. I stopped teaching because there was a lot I had to learn. And I learned some really hard lessons. And that was what I came to today. What happened in Vegas? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What did I learn? I gotta leave you at that cliffhanger because it's a good cliffhanger. And I'll bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. That's how my videos roll. I get signed up as a street performer. I have a designated area on the Fremont Station Street Experience. Google it. It's amazing. You have to register. I get a 2-hour slot. I go to set up. No, you can't do that here. What are you talking about? Anything but that. Are you serious? Anything but that. Hold on. Right? And so I have to talk to a licensed specialist, and I talked to them today, and they said for what I do, it is called the psychic arts. In Nevada, the state of Nevada, the work that I do is considered psychic arts. And in order to do that type of work in the state of Nevada, or even Las Vegas especially, you have to have a privileged sales license. Privilege means it has to be given. You have to be given privilege, and only in specific zones. What is similar to that? If I was to open a dispensary, a massage parlor, anything that served alcohol, Me, what I do is a privileged, I am labeled, I am a performer of the psychic arts, and it is a privilege to meet me. Be me right now. I just want to put on my stretchy pants and fight for God. You're like, what? Yeah. The world, believe it or not, there's a lot of them. I've got more stories to tell you. You're not going to believe all of this. But ultimately, that's where I'm at. And that's subject to change in the next 48 hours. I'm here at a wonderful place, and I've enjoyed it for the last 48 hours. It's been a crime scene. I have 48 hours more on my timer. I have a full tank of gas and a new understanding. And that's it. I don't have a will or a way. I have learned a lot. We can go back to magical teachings too. That's a whole nother thing, and I can't even get into that, what I've learned magically. But I'm talking about I've had some real life experiences to testify to what it is. And what I really learned ultimately is to be a person like me, no matter what time or space, you're still under the cloak. You know, that's what I spoke of with the Holy Spirit last night with God. I'm like, God, you made me something that is persecuted and rejected. And He showed me that it's always been that way. Anybody that had any psychic abilities or anybody that was given any gifts outside of, no, because the church denies such gifts. Anybody with gifts is feared, and that fear becomes persecuted, discriminated, you know what I mean, subjugated, villainized. They looked at me and they knew there was nothing to fear, but it's fear itself. And what is it? It's a precedent, actually, that people came long before me doing this and fucked this up, that to where they had to put regulations on people of the psychic arts. You have to be able to pass a 7-year background check. You have to be able to do all of these things. And it costs a lot of money to be me. You can legally be me in the state of Nevada, but it is extremely expensive. It's very regulated. You can't have these kind of gifts without, you know what I mean, registering them to, you know, a higher source of power here and saying exactly what your intentions are and using them, because they have, in fact, been exposed to this before. So that was the plus. It's like, I'm not one of a kind, but those of my kind have done this, and that's what I'm here to clean up. The cult buster, as you say, is they've done it, and that's why I'm so feared, you know, and that's why I got kicked out. Is like, I played on their fear. I opened up the doors, and that's it. I opened up the doors of karma into those walls. You don't even know God, and you're gonna sit there and persecute me. I will release God upon these walls, and I did. And what does that mean? That means that you're going to face the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth of your reality. And that's what kills it. It's like, you know, I said it. I was like, your conscience is going to kill you. That's what drives people to madness. The things that are hidden inside of their mind. I'll leave here. And I did. I handled it like a pro. I never cried. I didn't even ask them why until I was pulling out. I said, why was I asked to leave? They said, harassment. I think it was, no, that was what I got in trouble for on YouTube. What did they say it was? I don't even know. I didn't even ask. When they told me to leave, I just packed up my shit and handled it. And when it all was said and done, it's like, I didn't even break a rule. You kicked me out, and when I said I was leaving, I hope you feel good about the power that you had. And that's it too, you know, it's like, this is going to come back to bite you in the ass. Because I didn't do anything wrong. I made you aware of all the wrongdoings that was happening here. And then you tried to fight me, so I had to unleash God upon you. And then so you threw me to the wolves. And it kind of is, if you look back on it, it just kind of happens that way. It's like I come up at people against them with the truth that's being given to me that I don't want. And as soon as I give it to them, they want to set my ass on fire. And that's what I told Wolfman. I was like, now you see. When I tell the truth, they want to kill me and my children immediately. I didn't ask for this, but this is what I am, and this is what I do. And it's the truth. And they did. They had no respect for me, my children, our situation, nothing. Get her the fuck out of here. She plays with dark forces. No, I've been here for 2 weeks telling you that I was, you know what I mean, that I was doing cleansings and that I can't clean this energy. I've done everything. And then you guys turn against me. And so what do? I turn to God, all parts of God, because I can't turn to no light. There's no light here. So I release the darkness here. And then you want to turn dark on me? What happened? I was the light here. Who's winning or losing? And that's what I realized is, as I walked out of there, they were afraid of what these people already know. And that's it, is people like me were able to manipulate energy and use it to harm other people. And that's what their biggest fear was I was going to put, you know what I mean, put something on them. And that ultimately, I want to teach you guys something, because that's what I'm here to set people free from. My power, and what makes me all powerful and the most powerful person ever, is the power that's given to me by God. I don't yield a dark power. I am a dark power given to me by God. Okay? And I don't yield that darkness. And I don't explore, I don't harness that darkness and use it in this lifetime. I am a light worker. And therefore, I bear God's armor, the sword of truth, the breastplate of, I'm not going to go through it. Learn your teachings. So how do I always win? Because it's not me you're fighting. And the only way you could ever harness God's power is to know God. And that's why nobody of the dark practices can beat me. Because they're practicing against God. Not me, but the power that's been given to me by God Himself. Now, I am trying to restore that power in everybody, where their fear and manipulation of your mind and your experiences has no more power over you. And that's what makes me all powerful, is that. And my tent looks like it's taking a wind beating. Sorry, I was looking at it. I might need to tie it down a bit better. That's what makes me all powerful. Not because of my dark practices, but because I walk in the light and I bear the light. I am here to set you free of the dark shadows of the lies that you live in. But when I shine light on it, you choose of your own free will to either walk into the light or to hold on to the darkness and use it to try to, you become the darkness, in the sense of you try to gain, that was one of our last teachings, revenge or power over me and the knowledge and wisdom and power that was given to me by God. That is no service to me. This light, this truth is given to you to set you free. It makes me feel gross that I even have to deliver the bullshit. But it is, nevertheless, my job, as I'm sitting here shaking my hand, scratching my good hand. It is my purpose in this life. And that is that anointing, is I am anointed by God, given God's power, doing God's work, here having a human experience that I don't fully understand, because I'm not my own God, but I'm working with God as His servant in this life. I have been a goddess in many lives. Never have I been human and had to experience what it meant to harness God in a light form like Christ here in the human form, when I have always been the goddess of dark. This is a very difficult human experience for me. It's difficult to be human in any experience. But when you're ripped and stripped of your powers and you work for a higher source, you've got to just do the job, whatever it is, with no knowing about it. You don't run to your manager all the time. Well, what do I do next? Just look fucking busy. Just sit there until he tells you what to do next, is how this kind of job works. Some bullshit ass job, but it's the job. And with that being said, that's what the job is. So, even though I'm pissed off that I can't be me, I found out that there's plenty of people like me that have came before me. They shit on all this shit, and I'm going to clean all this shit up just being me. But ultimately, I had to be here to witness this, to tell all of you these stories, because nobody's ever tried to do this. Tell me a girl, a light worker, a starseed, an earth angel, a witch that would go out and publicly proclaim themselves in the Bible Belt or in any native lands, that goes out to the highest mountains, to the streets, to the sin city, says, I'm here in the name of Christ to clean up this fucking, the darkness. No, just me. This is my life, and it's not easy to be me. And there's never been anyone that's done such crazy shit. Every witch before, even Mother Mary, knew to shut your fucking mouth and run. But he said, no, you're going to be this. You're going to reinstate my church. And it will be balanced, and they will be restored. And truthfully, we are the servants of God. Here it is. We are. We're the rainbow children. We're the starseeds. We're the earth angels. We're the fallen angels. We're the resurrected. We're here to do this fucking work. But me as the leader, I'm getting my ass kicked. It's not easy. And yeah, I make it look good because I've had to do this. I have to wear the face. But at any moment, I will burst into tears. And that happened quickly. I got kicked out of that place. I held it so good. I went to go get gas, and I looked at the lady. She said, you good? How are you? And she looked at me with her beautiful blue eyes, and I just cried. I felt so safe looking into her eyes and vulnerable. I'm like, I've just been through a lot. I just need a moment. The kids are in the car. I've held it together. I just need a moment. She said, just take it. And that's it. I can hold my shit together, but I also need to let this shit out. And I had a couple of those moments where I cried. I was unsure. I was scared. I was tired. Especially after what happened when those lights came at me. After that, that's all I said. I'm tired, Lord. I am so tired. I am so tired, Lord. That's all I said that night after that. And again, I'm not going to tell you how the story happens. That's what brought me here. And where do I go from here? I learned a lesson. There's more to be taught. But I'm going to leave you right there with this video. This will be part 1 of the separation, probably, I would say separation anxiety for those of you that missed me, but I guess it would be a separation update. Hey, I gotta catch my stuff. The wind is out of control. We have the best weather, though. I'm following the best weather. Hey,